Trying to get my YouTube started. Alright. Got my YouTube started. Let's get the theme song started. Oops. Pushing the wrong button. Pushing the wrong button.
It's a brand new day and she's back again. Get yourself a beverage, let's get settled in. It's Decon Q&A with CrystalJae. Hey, 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 all our favorite heathens gathered in one place. All our questions answered, our favorite creators on display. It's Decon Q&A with CrystalJae. Hey, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, get ready for the fun. Decon Q&A with CrystalJae.
Hey, welcome in, everybody. Welcome in. And we have, hey, Carrie. Hey, King's Minion. I don't know how to say your name. Hey, Ken and Paper. How are you doing? Jarab, how are you doing? And we have J.A. Debates Joyful with us tonight. How are you tonight, Joyful?
I'm a little preoccupied at the moment, Crystal. Just give me just a minute.
Okay, I will keep talking. Okay, I'll just keep talking to the beautiful people here. Let me change my gift goal. I want it to be a little more exciting, a little more fun. So let me see. Let's do some love paint. Let's do that. All right. Let's pin that gift goal. Hey, you guys. Thank you so much for being here, everybody. I really appreciate it. If you can get to tapping the screen, I'd really appreciate that too. And, you know, share out the live. Thank you so much. Do the hand hearts, collect your points, do all the good things. If you can help with the gift goal, I'd really appreciate it. I want to get to 100,000 likes by the end of the 3-hour show, if at all possible. And I'd love it if we could get our team ranking up. So yeah, those popular votes and all that, that really helps. Thank you so much, Jake, for helping. I appreciate it so much. Tonight we have Joyful Apostate. You guys know that we did do a show together, and so it's pretty fun to have my friend on. I have some great shows coming up too. I have, let me see who I have coming up. Oh, I wonder if I can see my calendar on here. I don't have it all, but I do have G-Spot coming up, and Sandra. Sandra is a skeptic, I think is what her name is now. It used to be Sandra's board, I think, but Sandra's going to be on my show. And I believe Forrest is going to be on my show. So yeah, so we have some great creators coming up. And if you are a creator and you're listening and you want to be on my show and I haven't asked you yet, please don't assume that I don't want you on my show. Chances are, hey doctor, that I'm just shy. It doesn't, and I get kind of shy to ask people all the time. But you can also just ask me, and yeah, we'll set up a day for you to be on the show. Hope everybody had a wonderful Monday. It was kind of uneventful for me, frankly, which is nice, right? Like, sometimes you don't want, like, events, right? I guess I can get my questions ready. I guess today is Tuesday. I hope everybody also had a wonderful Tuesday. Because for some reason I was thinking today was Monday. Today's Tuesday. But I hope you had both wonderful Tuesday and a wonderful Monday.
Okay, I think I'm settled now. I'm doing this on my phone, so I had to find my mic and everything, so
okay.
I was trying to figure out where, because I kind of move around the house a lot when I cast different rooms, depending on who's home and stuff. I'll just occupy a room. So I had to figure out where my old mic was.
Okay.
So it just took me a minute.
Yeah, no problem. It's already Wednesday here in Europe, and Crystal was talking about Monday. Yeah, Crystal doesn't know what day of the week it is, obviously. Oh, I should turn my light on. Sorry about that. It will help you see. I have a lot of backlight because I have big windows behind me, and there's a lot of natural backlight. Makes me look like a ghost. Okay, so Joyful, you've been on my show before. You know how it works. I'm going to start by asking you 10 icebreaker questions, but this time, they're not going to be as probably silly or what have you as last time, because it's your second time on the show, so we want to get to know you a little bit more now. And then we're going to invite the chat to come up and ask you questions. And if there's anybody over on YouTube, I will read out any questions that they may have for you. And then at the end, we're going to play your favorite game, the one that you always talk about with all your friends, Divine or Decline. Okay? Does that sound good?
Sounds amazing.
All right. Here we go with the icebreaker questions. Let me see, pull up YouTube real quick so I can kind of keep an eye over there in case see somebody ask a question at some point. Hello, YouTube. Oh, gotta turn down the volume because I turn it up to play my thing. All right. Nobody over there with questions yet, so let's get to the icebreakers. All right. When you think back to your time as a pastor, what's one sermon you'd actually like to rewrite today?
I would say teaching about full life sacrifice. I think it's a crazy concept that Christians have, that you give your entire everything to this God, including your family, and you would sacrifice them and all that. Because there was a lot of talking about martyrdom and stuff, and people that have sacrificed their families for the ministry, and how we should all have that same kind of faith. So I think that would be one that I wish would have never been uttered from my lips.
Yeah, we do find it noble for people to sacrifice everything, including their families, their children, their wives, their husbands, whatever it is, for this God, and then claim at the same time to be the religion of families. You know what? Okay.
Yep.
All right. What's your favorite way to decompress after a long week?
Ooh, that's hard. I would say my favorite way to decompress would probably be catfishing.
Oh, yeah.
But maybe it's possible that it would be playing Pokemon Go with Emma, because we do that a lot. So it's one or the other. It's a toss up.
You're so funny, kitty. That was Sputnik, my kitty, and he keeps coming back like he wants me to pick him up, but he doesn't. He really doesn't. If your artwork could hang in any museum or public space, where would you want it to be displayed?
I would say, I really wouldn't want it displayed in a high-end art gallery. I would just want it displayed in any area where a lot of people would just see it, and it would just be there for people to look at. I think would be the most satisfying for me.
Yeah, that would be cool. Just somewhere, maybe in a restaurant or something that people frequent all the time, or
Yep.
a library as a decoration on the wall or something. That would be really cool.
Yeah, I've always thought like even just going into a Dairy Queen and seeing like the art works they just have on the wall. It would be cool to know that you had pictures all around where you don't even know how many people have sat and looked at it.
I once had a piece of my art stolen, and that made me feel really happy. I was like, what? They liked it so much they stole it? That was really cool to me.
No, you don't put Friskies on a hook, and I would never catfish my daughter. That woman is crazy. But I watched that whole documentary. It was something.
A woman catfished her daughter?
Oh, you need to watch it. It's on Netflix. It's called Unknown Number. It's a documentary.
Oh my god.
She's in it. The mother and the daughter are in there doing interviews. And it is nuts hearing her talk about it. She kind of acts like she's a victim in all of it a little bit. It's crazy.
That is wild. And that's why she was able to do it, because she always plays a victim. What? Are you kidding me? Okay. Would you rather have a dog that can talk or a bunny that can teleport?
I'd rather have a bunny any day, so it really doesn't matter the other characteristic. I'm not much of a dog person, and I love bunnies. My kids love cats, so they don't really mesh too well.
No, they don't. I did have a bunny when I had a cat. And then, unfortunately, my husband was having really bad allergic reactions, so he moved the bunny, and then the bunny got depressed and died from being depressed because we moved it to another area. And that made me so sad, because it was the sweetest bunny ever. Like, it was so sweet. But he did have allergies, and they were really bad, but it didn't end up being a bunny, and so that even made that worse. It was actually like food allergies that he was having.
Yeah, bunnies are really good pets. We'd let them out and everything, and they'd roam around, and they would come when you called them, and they were cool.
They're so cool.
Our one only lived a year old. It had what is it called? It's some sort of like sinus issue, and it ended up dying at 1 year old. And then Charlie lived to be like 9. Charlie got to be ripe old bunny.
Yeah, that's a ripe old bunny. What's a song that always puts you in a good mood no matter what?
Puts me in a good mood no matter what. That's a good question. I would say, man, puts me in a good mood.
Mine is, you know that song, Mr. Blue Skies?
Yep.
I like that song. It always, like, right away, I do feel like, like, it's such a cheery and upbeat tune, and it's like, you know, talking about the blue skies, and, you know, and how there's dark skies, but the blue skies make it all better, and I don't know. It just always puts me in a good mood.
Yeah, I would say the one that always puts me in a good mood, and it's mainly because deconstruction is so satisfying to me. That's one of like my happy places, is thinking about being deconstructed. Is Black Atheist Rant's Empty Tomb. I put it on a lot of my announcement videos. I love that song. I play it all the time.
That is a really good song.
I would say right now that would be what my go-to.
That is a good one. If you could co-host a show again with anyone, alive or dead, who would you pick?
Like a debate show?
Yeah, like one of your shows, and you can have anybody be your co-host, dead or alive. Who would you have co-host with you? Jesus?
Jesus himself.
Jesus
No.
himself. He'd be like, bitch, I was not real. Why are you here? You know?
Deconstruction Zone is a good one, and he would definitely be up there. I really would like to do a show with Matt Dillahunty at some point. That's like probably my dream, because that was like the first, like, not apologist, but whatever you call deconstruction talk that I found was through Jeff Schneider.
Yeah, that's how I found him too.
Yep, and like I just like started looking up Matt Dillahunty everything and listening to his arguments, and that really helped a lot with my deconstruction. And I don't know. I like his style a lot. He can be a little mean for me, but overall, I like Matt's way of thinking.
Yeah, Matt would be good. I don't know. Like, I think I would pick somebody. I would probably pick Thinker. I would like to co-host a show with Thinker. That would be fun. She's so smart, and I actually think too, like, that we, like, I'll send her like a message every now and then, and we're both pretty funny women, so I think that we would have fun doing a show together. Anyway, let's see what's next.
I would definitely like to watch that.
That it would be so fun. I would love it if that happens someday. Okay, let's all just speak it into existence. That's what people believe works, right? That's what's it called when you you manifest. Let's all manifest that, okay? Which takes more creativity, leading people as a pastor or doing your artwork?
Oh, definitely doing my artwork. It's pretty much just rinse and repeat. You just continue to tell them they need to be devoted to the church and to God in different ways. And that's all there really is to that. And read the Bible, but I don't think that takes any, like, skill.
No, and not very much creativity. You pick out the same verses over and over again. Hey, Liz, we'll be right with you. I'm going to ask him a couple more questions, then it'll be your turn. What's a silly joke you've told that always makes people roll their eyes, but you secretly love it?
Well, I don't know that this would be considered an actual joke. But if my kids or my wife are ever talking smack to me, I say, so's your face. No matter what it is, whether it's in context or not, I just say, so's your face. And they all always roll their eyes at me, but I think it's hilarious. It actually came from the show Scrubs, and I used to love that show. So, yeah, I'd say that would be it.
I always say your mom to my kids. Like, I do that all the time to my kids. So, like, sometimes my daughter will tell me, shut up, you're being so stupid. And I'll go, your mom's stupid. And she'll go, that's what I just said. She gets really upset with me. But I do your mom jokes to my own children.
My wife ruined Scrubs for me when I deconstructed. Because she, like, made me, while I was watching it, like, really pay attention to how they depict women. And it's very misogynistic. The whole, through and through. So it kind of ruined it for me with what I'm trying to do for myself. So I try to stay away from, like, I quit listening to a lot of music because of the misogyny in it and stuff like that. Because I don't think, when you're deconstructing something, even feeding it in any way isn't going to help when you already have that predisposed thought process. So I had to
agree.
quit watching it for that reason.
Yeah, you would definitely have to not watch Mad Men. I agree. That would be another one to take off the list. Um, if you could magically master any art form you don't already know how to do, what would it be?
Drawing. I cannot draw to save my life. I can paint. I can do a lot of things, but drawing, I just do not understand it. I've taken classes. It's just something I can't, I just can't figure out, especially people.
Okay.
So I'd like to know how to just like pencil draw.
I can draw, but I cannot draw from memory. I have to have a source photo or something. So I can't, like, I have aphantasia, and so it's hard for me to picture things. But I can draw very well. But I need a picture or something to look at when I'm drawing. I need a reference. I can't do it just from memory. Last question from me. If you had to design a pride-themed mural for your city, what's one symbol or image you'd include?
A pride mural for my city.
Well, yeah.
That's a big FDT flag next to it.
Yes, awesome. I love that. Okay, Liz, how are you tonight?
Doing good. How are y'all?
So good. And so good to see you.
Yeah. Hey, 2 nights in a row? Look at this.
I know.
Look at me
I
doing
know.
So I'm so sorry. Have I missed my FYP where Joyful does art? Because that has not come from our FYP, and I need to know more.
I think I've only ever posted one video with any of my artwork, and I'm not sure, it may have been on this account before I changed it all over, so it may not even exist anymore. But I have posted it in the Discord. I'm pretty sure in mine, no, that's in AG's Discord in the art section. Yeah, so, yeah, I will show some of my art, here soon. And I will tag you in it, Liz.
Okay. You should. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, homework for you. Sorry, Joyful. You thought this was going to be just fun, but you have homework.
How did you get into art anyway?
I was always interested in art, because my grandma and my aunt, my great aunt and my great grandma were both artists, and they passed down a lot of art, and it just intrigued me. So and my mom would always get me art stuff, like for Christmas and stuff, and I just always enjoyed doing it, but I didn't ever really take it that seriously until, using it as a coping skill. That's one thing I do to, like, relax and be mindful. So, yeah. So that's when I really started, like, watching videos and learning how to, like, proper techniques.
That's really cool.
Like, method or, like, types of art you do?
I do watercolor paintings mostly. I enjoy watercolors a lot because the blending of colors, it's very, it satisfies my, I don't know the word. It keeps me, in a painting for a long time because I can constantly go back and blend more in even later. Like, I can sit forever and I can take and wet it and I can add to it later. I'll be like, hey, that needs this, and I'll just, you know what I mean? With other painting, it's not quite that simple.
I love
And
that.
I find watercolor to be incredibly difficult. I can do acrylics. I can't do watercolor. I don't like oils. I'm not. You have to be very good at mixing colors and stuff with your oils. Acrylics is a little bit easier, but acrylics dry faster, so is more forgiving. But watercolor, man, that's difficult. That's really talented.
I also like I always just had like the powder watercolor like in the trays growing up. And now they have like the squeeze bottles where you just add water to it and it's already like liquidy. It's a lot better than those, so it's a lot I find it a lot easier to use the newer style.
Have you tried watercolor markers? I've used those before and really like that.
Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan.
Yeah, it's like it's a hit or miss for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
I do like those. They're easier for me, Liz, and I also like watercolor pencils. So you can draw with it and then use watercolor on it. And I like those too, but that's because to me, like, it's a way I can kind of cheat the system because I can't do watercolors that well. Hey Schley, hey Jeffro, welcome in.
My daughter does a lot more acrylic because when I paint, it's usually with her, and she like doesn't really like watercolors all that much. So most of her paintings are acrylic, and then most of mine are watercolor.
I can't wait to see. I am very envious of people who have that type of talent. I do a lot of like crafting and stuff, but I've never I can't draw for crap. And painting I want to be able to, but I don't know. I can't seem to get it ever to look right. Like no matter what I do, it's like it just makes it a muddy mess. I don't know. I probably need to. Do you have like somebody on TikTok or YouTube that like you think is really good for beginners to watch?
I mean, I don't have a certain person. I just like did beginner like videos from all different people until I found somebody that was showing something that was comfortable for me, and then I just kind of went from there. And kind of most of the stuff was just from reading things online after watching the beginners. Different ways to like, because I like doing like outer space more than anything. I find space very fascinating. So I learning techniques for like making the stars and stuff like that took a lot of reading to find the best like solutions for that.
You've put your work and like one of your chitlins also is artist, right? And you guys have done shows together, is that right?
Yeah, just at the local library, being artists.
It still counts. It's really cool.
Yeah, it is. Like it was nice to do it. I'll probably try to get in next year and see if I can't try to get another spot next year too.
That's really cool. Now, I'm just trying to remember this from our conversation before. The child who does this, they prefer acrylic, right?
Yep. Emma. Yep.
Okay, Emma. Okay. Yeah, I thought I remembered that. And you prefer watercolor, and then you guys got your work in the library. That's really fucking cool.
Yeah, we got a father-daughter spot. It was fun, and we got to like showcase as a father-daughter team. Even though we don't paint the same painting, we always do it together. So it's kind of cool that they allowed us to enter together.
Yeah, that is really cool. Liz, did you have other questions for Joyful? If you don't, I have some, and you can stay up in case you think of any, but I didn't want to take your time.
No, you're good. I don't have any more questions. If I do, I can come back up. I do want to say, though, you know, thank you for last night and everything that you said. It's been a struggle, and it's nice. It was refreshing. Even though it was, I know, painful and difficult for everybody, it was refreshing to hear it from somebody, you know, on the male side of things, and have somebody recognize it. So, thank you.
I feel very strongly that a lot of people feel like getting rid of the religion is the finish line, and I'm just noticing more and more that that's not even close. And I see it even in myself. Like, there are times where I say things, I do things that are even not point blank misogynistic, but it definitely is. Like, so it just, noticing that last night, and we did great on numbers. It was just like the liking and sharing and stuff. Like, even though we had the same numbers, nobody was liking. Nobody, like, it was just very disheartening.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna just call out chat right now. Like, I've already asked for more shares, and there is now one more share, and that was before I even got up here. Like, it sucks. I don't want to have to, you know, as a mod for a bunch of people here, I don't want to have to, and I know Crystal doesn't, and everybody else, like, we don't want to have to beg, you know, and it does fucking suck, because there are certain places you don't have to do that, and then there are other platforms where it seems that we do have to do that to be able to get the point across.
Yeah, absolutely.
In case
and
you weren't watching last night, we're talking about the misogyny that still exists within the deconstruction community, and how we will sit in the room with the same people in men's lives, and those same people are gifting and sharing and liking, but those same people in a woman's life will not do the same sharing, gifting, and liking, and it's palpable. Okay. And just so you know, it's not just men. We're calling out women for their misogyny too, because the women do it too. So it's something, and it's not just that. I mean, it's not just the support. It's just that when you deconstruct, when you've been indoctrinated into a system that is based on misogyny, you have to deconstruct that misogyny. When it's based on supremacy, you have to deconstruct that supremacy, and that supremacy comes in all types and facets of bigotry.
Yeah, and I think that more important than even, like, calling it out, like, you did the, I think it's just something that we need to keep in the air, that needs to not be silent about, and just, like, make it something, make it something that's just commonly talked about amongst, in lives and things, so that it's awareness. I think a lot of people are unaware of how misogynistic they actually are.
I do too.
And racist. I think
sometimes people will even ask me, like, they will notice if somebody does something misogynistic in front of me that's my friend, and they will say to me, like, you know, why do you still support that person? I'm like, you know, because I can go to that person and tell them what you did was misogyny, and they will try to work on it. And I am almost 60. I didn't have that before. Let me tell you something. I couldn't call out misogyny before. And being able to call it out and have people really listen means a lot to me. And so I'm not going to just erase every male friend of mine who deconstructed from Christianity because they still have some things they need to deconstruct. I'm not going to do that. I am going to let them know And I am going to hopefully show them that there's still some things they need to work on, and they will. Because so far, most of the men in this community have shown me that they do want to be better people on every facet of their life.
Yeah, exactly. I just think that we need to keep it fresh, even for me. I think it just needs to stay fresh. It needs to be something that we're all looking for, and in ourselves and in the people around us. And it's not about just being like, you POS, you did this. It's about just the recognize and do better. That's all we can do.
And like I said last night, if you are in this community and you want to help in misogyny, then one of the best ways you can do that is by magnifying the voices of women in the community. Go to their shows, support them, show them the same love, if not more, than the men, and specifically and more importantly, that would go for any marginalized women. Support the fuck out of them, because the more you lift up the people who are marginalized, the better we become as a society, and that's just what you have to do. You know what I'm saying?
I think
Yep.
like I hear a lot of people, say that they wish that there were more women on the app that did those debates and that are more vocal about these things. But especially I wish we had more female creators in the Deconstruction Junction. But if you can find them, let us know, right? And we can work on that. But we have women there who are, if somebody comes along, great. But we need more just female voices in this space in general as well. It's not that,
Absolutely.
Specifically don't want as many women in the junction. We have all
No.
that we know of in the junction. So if there's somebody that we don't know of, let us know and get them over. But I encourage other people too, other women, to start their own lives. And you can promote within the junction in the promotion section, and you'll have as many people there as we can. Obviously, Crystal, myself, Joyful, whenever we have time and availability, we'll be there, and many others as well. But we need more female voices in this space.
And I believe if you lift the female voices up, you'll end up having more female voices, because it's encouraging. It really is. When you see other women speak on these subjects, when you see born again atheists out there, Sam out there doing her thing, Rhea, Christina Carroll, Thinker, and all of them, you can't help but go, I want to get out there too. So support the women of this community, please.
Absolutely. And that's something that we're going to work on more and more at JA Debates, trying to make that a priority, getting more representation out there.
And that's why
Absolutely.
I love it. Friends, I'm gonna let y'all go. Y'all get up here and ask this man some questions, because he has got some things to talk about. I'm gonna go have some dinner, and and if I have anything.
All right, Liz. All right, Liz, thank you so much for being here. You guys, big W for Liz in the comments. Liz is an admin for the Deconstruction Junction, and she is a mod for so many people. She's been away for a minute, but she's back, and so, make sure you show her some love.
Absolutely.
Lobes is loading. For some reason, it's taking a minute for people to load for me. So give it a minute here. Hello, Lobes. How are you tonight?
Hello. Hi. How are you doing?
Doing good. Did you have a question for Joyful?
Yeah, am I coming through okay?
Yeah.
Okay. I think there might be a little bit of a lag on my end, but as long as I'm coming through fine. Joyful, from experience, when I know that you said that it was hard for you, it was hard for me too. I went down a very nihilistic path, and that ultimately led me to absurdism. So, what exactly is your existential philosophy? When you think about what's the point, what's the answer that you kind of come up with?
It's probably not as complicated as you would like. I just to be honest, yeah. So I never really looked at it that deep through nihilism or anything. My idea has always been kind of shallow. And what I mean by that is I look at my wife, I look at my kids. I think through my life, and like what gives me meaning, purpose, or anything is just seeing them and wanting better for them. So if I come on here and I make the world a better place by having these discussions, it makes it better for them one way or the other. It's going to make it better for their offsprings down the road. So for me, meaning is going to any kind of meaning to life is just going to be a subjective thing for each of us. But I think we can all agree that we want our loved ones to have better than we had. And so I kind of think that that's the focal point for me. If that answers.
You derive your, what makes you get out of bed in the morning is to serve your family.
Yep.
That's a good answer. I like
it. Brother, I would have been gone a long time ago if it wasn't for them. They are my saviors. Each and every one of them.
Sometimes I think the same thing. How long did your I guess, is depression the right word? Like, because I know that you said that it was a challenge for you when you lost your faith. You were going kind of crazy. I've heard you say that at least a couple of times. How long did that last? Is it still ongoing?
The depression is, I actually just started a new thing this week, and so it's made me a little off. Almost like a under the weather from drinking feeling. So I don't know, like, if it's the right one for me. But depression is something that I'm still working on, because a lot of it is derived from this belief of me being inherently bad. So I tend to only see the bad things I do, and I have a hard time, it's often a feeling I have that my family would be better if I was gone. Like, that's something that I deal with mentally a lot. So even now I have that, but like the going completely crazy part was I didn't have any purpose anymore. There was no meaning for me. Nothing mattered. So why not just be a complete ass? You know?
That was thinking, I think we both had that kind of similar experience, and that line of thinking is why I asked the first question I did, because I think that's kind of what it is, that type of question.
Well, the only thing that brought me out of that state was the hurt my actions brought upon my family. And my family, especially my wife, loving me enough to want me to get help, to want to help me through it, rather than she had every right to toss me to the curb. And seeing that, even through all the hurt, that love doesn't, there is meaning. there is love outside of God. There is all of the same things you get from God are real, just everyday life. We just put a name on it and try to make everybody. When I say that, I want to clarify. I'm just talking about like love, peace, all that is attainable without this God figure, and that's something I didn't understand. But I started to because of them.
Yeah. One thing that I've kind of noticed, and I might have heard somebody say this at one point, but I can't remember exactly but I think this is true. So you know how the happiest people seem to be the ones that don't really think that much about existence. They just go through their lives and they live in the moment. They're not really sweating their mortality. They don't think about it that much. And so that causes them to be kind of happy. It's like a blissful ignorance. So they're not necessarily ignorant, but they don't really think in a very like deep philosophical way. I need to find my meaning and all that kind of thing. And then the people who think about it and try to make sure that they don't waste this life, they get really like, I think I can say we, because we probably do this, you and I, and Crystal probably too, get into the weeds of thinking about what is the purpose, like how can I maximize my experience here? How can I make this life worthwhile? And when we come to the conclusion, like you and I did, there's no purpose, it gets really depressing. And I think that's when you're in the middle of your like philosophizing over it. Once you do a lot of thinking, you get to a new conclusion. You realize that the starting point and the end point are the same. Not thinking about it, thinking it through, like living in the present and embracing the now and embracing what you have, and not thinking about something that is in vain anyways, kind of eternity. That's going to do nothing but depress you, and it's best to just conquer that, accept it, and move forward with whatever you have in the present. I think it's kind of funny how thinking about it none and thinking about it to a conclusion like that are virtually identical as far as the outcome on the person.
Yeah, and I think the more ongoing thing it has to do with certain addictions I have that are hard to manage sometimes. So that like just reaffirms that I'm a bad person and I'm never gonna be good, and it's like a spiral, and I go down the depression route for a while, and then I pop back up, and I'm like, you know what? I did it good for 2.5 years. Now we're gonna do it again, and then it's just like a cycle for me. It's like this up and down, but I think it's. But I also see every time me do better and better, which I think is important, because the more I do therapy and stuff, the more I don't need that addiction. And I think that's real, and the medicine helps a lot too. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, yeah, that's good, because it's not going to be a night and day. The gradual progression, like the slight edge. That slight edge is a success book that I like, but just moving slightly better at a consistent rate. Eventually, like evolution will be unrecognizable after a long period of time from where you started. In a good way, hopefully.
Yeah.
I'm happy for you, man. I'm gonna drop back down.
You're awesome, Lobes. I look forward
Thanks
to seeing
for
you
coming up,
on.
Lobes.
Lobes will be on Jay Debates on the. I'm not sure. At some point this month.
Sometime. Yeah.
Sometime I think the 15th, but I'm not sure.
The 18th, he says. It's the 18th. Okay,
Yeah, I don't have
hey,
the
you guys.
schedule right in front of me.
If you have a question for Joyful or a follow-up question for Joyful for what he's already been talking about, you can ask it if you're too afraid to come up. I will read it, or if you don't have a microphone or you're not in a place where you can come up, go ahead and just put your question in the chat. But if you can, put it all in caps. Same over on YouTube. Ask your questions. I'll be happy to read them out to Joyful.
And I'll let you know that I will answer pretty much anything, honestly. I'm a pretty open book. Unless it will get the live taken down, then I'm probably not going to answer for that reason and that reason alone.
Which I appreciate.
But yeah, if you have a question, I am not worried about answering, even if it seems a little personal. I feel like my story can help people, and that is my purpose, is to help people, because if I help people, the world becomes a better place. My kids have a better world to live in.
Absolutely. Well, Joyful, I've got more questions. Here we go. When you look back on your time as a pastor, what's part of the role that still feels valuable to you today, even outside of the faith?
I would say the most valuable part is just being able to say that when having these discussions, because I think that it has a lot of impact knowing that people are coming from a place where they were that into it. They were that indoctrinated to where they were planning churches and an associate pastor and all of these things, and I just think that it helps with the conversations a lot. It just brings credibility to my deconstruction. Like, I was in it. I was a Christian. Right. Like, you can say I wasn't a Christian, but I dedicated my life to it. I gave my life to it.
Yeah, 100%. Let me read 2 questions real quick. Loeb says, what is your deepest, darkest secret? And if you tell us, it won't be a secret anymore. So I don't think you can tell us. I think that's a trick. And then
I think that would get. I think that would probably get the live taken down. So I'm not going to share it anyway.
There you go. From personal experience, I know the words narcissism and Christianity are interchangeable. Thoughts? That is from Slice.
What was that last one? Sorry, I was reading something.
Joyful.
Sorry.
He said, from personal experience, I know the words narcissism and Christianity are interchangeable. Thoughts?
Yeah, I think the reason that happens is you take humanity, like the actual feeling and thought of humanity, out of people. We think of this nasty skin we've been put in to go through these tests, and that what we're really looking forward to is our celestial bodies that are going to be perfect and great. So we just kind of lose our humanity a little at a time. We lose empathy. We lose all of these things because this world doesn't matter. So we are definitely narcissistic.
Yeah, I agree. I also have a question over on YouTube, and then we'll get to Jag, who has come up to ask a question or two. Joyful, I can't do all caps. I'm from the old times. Caps lock offends me. But Joyful, I wonder, do you realize now how worthy you are of the love others have for you? That you're not sinful?
I do, and I don't. On a logical level, I do. I have a hard time matching my logic with my emotions. So that's kind of like a place I find myself in a lot. Like, for instance, I can logically, openly say that, like, I was SA'd as a child, but emotionally, I feel like there was a relationship, kind of. Like, the emotions and the logic don't go hand in hand, and it's hard sometimes to just put those two together, if that makes sense.
I really understand that because I was groomed as a teenager, and it took me decades to understand that it was not a relationship and that I was groomed. And I mean decades. So it's something I really, really can understand. Hey, Jag, welcome to the show. Did you have a question or two for Joyful tonight?
Hi, I did. So Joyful, do you think it would be better or worse for you currently to return to the faith?
Worse.
I think that's something to keep in mind whenever we have a little slip or we feel like we're getting weak. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I find myself like getting in the old habit of saying little prayers sometimes. Like I start to, and then I'm like, what the fuck am I doing?
Right.
When I'm in those panic modes. So yeah, I really that was a good question, and that's something that I have to keep a conscious thought about, because I like automatically start to slip back into it.
Exactly. And I think that's one thing that also helped my mom, because she was in AA and NA as well. I don't know if that's you, but she was an addict, and she went through recovery multiple times and stuff like that. And that was the one question that I feel like may have helped her, but no one asked.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I do appreciate that, because that is something that I'm constantly reminding myself of. I think it helps doing these lives to remind me, but when I'm really depressed and stuff, yeah, like I start to like just automatically do these things, and I'm just like, why the hell am I even doing this? But there I am doing it. You know what I mean?
Come to me. I can start asking you questions like this and get your mind off of it. Like I said, I've been through it, so I know what you're kind of going through. And I myself, as an addict, I get it.
Yeah, I did. I never done NA or AA. It wasn't anything like that. But yeah, it's more of a bad internet thing addiction.
Gotcha. That's hard.
If that answers your question. So
No.
I've done the AA group for that. I quit after getting some advice from my therapist not to do it because of the higher power thing and getting confused.
Right.
Like it being hard with deconstructing and doing the higher power thing.
Have you heard of SMART?
Yes. Yeah, we've actually went over a lot of that in my therapy.
Yeah, that's a really, really good non-religious based program that actually has evidence backing it as well. So it's a really, really good program. Yeah, I just want the best for you. Just wanted to come up and ask you that, just to hopefully help you. I know sometimes it's a real fucking struggle bus. So I get.
Oh, it definitely is.
Yeah. So that's it. Just wanted to say hi. Thank you so much for having me, Crystal.
Jag, thank you so much for coming up. That was really nice. I really appreciate it. And you guys, big W in the chat for Jag. If you have a question for Joyful, the guest box is open, and you can also ask in the chat, and I'll read it out to him. I know sometimes people are shy to come up, or they don't have a mic, or they're in a noisy place. Buddy C says, creamy or chunky peanut butter, Jif or Peter Pan?
For me?
Yes, for you.
Incorrect. That's all I have to say.
Incorrect, buddy. That's
no.
what you get.
Peanut butter is the most vile thing in this world.
And Betty says, I heard someone say they lost their faith. Happened to them. I feel like I chose to leave faith. Can Joyful speak to the difference, if there is a difference?
I think using the phrase losing your faith is a toxic way of thinking. Because I think people that are deconstructing are realizing that faith is a worthless way to understand truth. And so I would say it's getting rid of your faith would be a more empowering way to describe it. I mean, I don't think a lot of people realize what they're doing when they're saying that, but it's like acting like you lost something that is tangible and but it wasn't. It was always nonsense. So I think that would be the difference.
I'm just reading through the chat. I don't know what an awful thing to say is, but somebody thought that was an awful thing to say. I don't know what the awful thing. I don't think we said anything awful tonight, but you know, chat can be harsh sometimes.
Was it when I was answering that?
I don't know. I don't know
may
when
have
they
been
said it. I
about-
was scrolling through.
Oh. I was gonna say it might have been just that I said that we've realized that faith is not. Yeah.
Well, it's only awful if you have faith. Oh, about not liking
Oh.
peanut butter.
Yeah, like I'll
Okay.
make peanut butter sandwiches, but I do not breathe out of them. I cannot stand the smell of it. Even.
Really? That's
Yeah,
wild.
peanut butter is like I don't know. It makes me instant stomach turn. Like I just can't do it.
I love peanut butter. And apple butter too, by the way. God, I love apple butter. I need to make some. Okay, and peanut butter and apple butter. That's like heaven. Mix peanut butter with chocolate, and yeah, the cure for depression. No one's
My
giving
wife-
you depression now.
My wife loves my Reese's and stuff like that. She loves it, but not me.
What's one artistic piece you've created that feels like a turning point in how you see yourself?
Probably my Love is Love painting. And the reason I say that is because of my old way of viewing the LGBTQ and just like seeing it after I made it and I'm like I've come this far. It was like a milestone that I could look back at and be like I went from none of these people allowed in the church to making an art piece to celebrate and give a voice to it.
That's really cool. That is really cool. I would be proud of that too if I was you. Hey JD, how are you?
Hey, Crystal. I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good. I wish I could give you a hug. It's so good to see you. Did you have a question or two for Joyful?
Yeah. Hey, Joyful. How are you?
Pretty good. How are you?
Good. First, I want to say thank you for being open about the mental health issues. I think one of the greatest things post deconstruction is being able to recognize and talk about mental health issues. Because I know in the churches that I went to, you just prayed away, and mental health was just demons or just your own mind. You just had to overcome it. So thank you for being open about that.
Absolutely.
Question: what was the hardest thing for you to deconstruct of your beliefs?
The hardest thing is inherent evil. That's because it's something that I still struggle with in myself. And I see myself, like, I struggle with the idea of being selfish because I can look at a pattern in my life and I do harmful things for my own benefit, and then I also do the good things for my benefit. So I'm just a selfish person. So, like, I always rationalize how I'm inherently evil with different ideas. And so I think that is something I'm still trying to definitely deconstruct. That I'm not sure I ever will. I'm not sure.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, because that's what we're taught from an early age.
Yep.
We're born bad. We're born evil.
And we don't. It would either be that or deserving of love. Because we are taught that we were inherently evil. God sent his son while we were yet sinners to die for us. Us lowly, nasty, vile things. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
So,
struggle with
like,
that one too.
yep. It's
Oh, yeah,
definitely a hard one to shake.
I was just curious.
But when you think of that verse, God, and God sent his only son, like, doesn't your mind ever go, but then again, he did that before the earth was even made, so this was all his plot, and that's why it's just so stupid? Like, you know what I mean? Like, does your mind continue down the path of that thought?
No, I don't. It was me and my therapist piecing it even together that was what was going on in my brain, because of my feeling of self-deprecating and just feeling like I am unlovable, I am an evil person. And so, like, it is what we're taught. So it's never a thought process in that way for me. Like, the Bible says this. It's always just this feeling, the emotion. Like, it's another thing that I logically understand, but my emotions do not match my logic.
My thought pattern is similar to yours, Crystal, except I think about all the thousands of years prior to Jesus coming. Did he not love them? And then, like, so that's when I struggle with, okay, God really isn't love. He doesn't really love everybody. He kind of
Right. I go down the thought process. So I go like, okay, I was taught I wasn't worthy of love because of these Bible verses, right? And that's what they used to prove to me that I was. But then if I really go through the thought process, I realize there's a contradicting or other, verse that shows me that this is all bullshit. And who would want to make me think I wasn't worthy of love? Well, it would be men who would want to control me. So therefore, I am worthy of love. And if I allow them to make me actually believe I am not worthy of love, I have literally fallen for what they're trying to get me to fall for.
That's so true, Crystal.
So that's why I got to go through now, I'm not saying I don't think, but I continue the thought, right? Like I go, okay, I'm not worthy of love because of these verses, but these verses show me that that's not true, and that means it's a contradiction, which means men wrote it, which means it was all to control me. So anyway, did you have any other questions? This is how the neurodivergent brain works, people.
Liz had one more thing. Hang on.
Hey, sorry to butt in again. You had reminded me, Joyful, because you had mentioned the selfish thing last night also, and I wanted to try to challenge you to maybe reframe it in your mind a bit, because even if you think of things that you do for people that are not inherently or not societally considered selfish, right? Like if you donate money somewhere or help a friend or whatever, there is a way for almost anything that we do, positive or negative, to be looked at in a way and frame it so that it sounds selfish, even though it may not be. I only donated that money to make myself feel good, or to be able to, take it back on my taxes, or I only helped that friend because I wanted to be able to, ask them for a favor later, or again, it made me feel good, and that's really the only reason I was doing it. So I think that sometimes when we feel that things are selfish, we're just framing it in the wrong way. Just a challenge to try to help.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's a lot of getting through things like that is reframing the way we talk to ourselves. Like I do self-affirming talk on my way to work every morning to try to help, and it does at times, and then other times I just quit doing it because I'm like, I'm just doing this because I have to, and or I'm supposed to, and like I always devolve from that point. So, our mindset definitely has, in the way we frame things in our own heads, definitely have an impact on the way we see things overall.
For sure. For sure. For me, doing affirmations is very difficult too. I feel silly and goofy doing them. So I do some other exercises that help me. For instance, I will talk to little Crystal because she's the one who is hurt, and that people let her down, you know. And so that's where a lot of my pain from today comes from, is that young girl who was hurt. And as the adult in her life now, we go back and we fix the things that other adults fucked up and didn't handle correctly. And
Hey,
by doing things that way, I really, help myself.
I was going to let you know the YouTube was acting up.
I just fixed it. I don't know why I did that. But the other thing I do is, and I haven't done it in a long time, but I will keep a little notebook nearby, and when somebody gives me a compliment, then I write it down, and then I have a little list of compliments that people have given me. But I say my affirmation by saying that compliment. So let's say somebody says, "Crystal, you're real funny." So I'll write down, "People think that I'm funny." And then I will say that out loud, because then it's not me trying to say things that aren't real or that I don't feel are real, because somebody actually said it to me. So somebody actually thinks that of me. And I should know that people find me in a positive light. They're seeing me in a positive light.
That's a great thing you do, Crystal. I think I might do that, because I struggle with self-affirmation because I don't believe what I'm saying about myself.
Yeah. Yeah, and then I go, I have to look at myself the way other people see me. I'm maybe seeing myself with some fucked up lenses. You know what I mean? Because I was given some fucked up lenses. So maybe I should look at myself the way other people see me.
Crystal with the life hacks over here today.
Crystal, you're a nice lady.
You are a very nice lady.
Thank you. Thank you. Hey, Rob. Oh, go ahead, Joyful.
How's it going? How y'all doing?
Doing great. Did you have some questions for Joyful?
Well, I was gonna say that I think you're very valuable as a human being. Wanted to just give you a compliment.
Well, I appreciate that, Rob.
I was actually saying that to Crystal because she was giving us that about writing them down. But
well, thank you.
no problem. But I'm a Christian. I didn't know if this was a debate channel or not, but like I like the conversation. I like talking to deconstructionists, having like a free exchange of ideas.
This is a question
several times. Is it?
Oh,
okay.
awesome. This is a Q&A, and Joyful does debates. He runs the channel JA Debates. He's known as Joyful Apostate on TikTok and YouTube. And we're asking him questions tonight. He's an ex-pastor. He's an artist. He's a father. And so if you have any questions you want to ask him, feel free.
I don't have, I guess if I ask questions, I feel like it'll turn into a debate, because I do enjoy engaging in apologetics, more out of obedience than, I feel like out of obedience, with the Great Commission and all, than, I like to argue with people. But, so just to give you a little history, I was an atheist for 34 years, and then I became born again about 6 years ago. So it's interesting to hear a lot of people that are deconstructing that were raised in the church and are now like kind of on the opposite spectrum of me. And like, I enjoy engaging, because I think it's really interesting. I think it's sad. So I guess my Q&A would be like, what gives you guys hope in deconstruction and atheism? Like I could start it off with that.
What? So for a while it was hard to figure that out. But I'd say hope to me that I found would be that the world is being made a better place for the people that come after me. So my hope is not grounded in something I will receive later. If my hope is grounded in what others will receive after me.
I love
Right.
that.
So I guess my question about that would be like, as an atheist, I respect your point of view. I mean, I shared that view for a long time, and I get it. I guess I would say, what is the value in that? Like,
Can I
who
ask
cares?
you a question first
Sure.
before we continue?
Sure.
So as an atheist, what was your favorite argument against God?
Well, now I wasn't necessarily like I read Cosmos, I read some Richard Dawkins, and I read Bill Bryson. Oh, so I was informed. I believed in evolution. I believed in the Big Bang Theory. But I didn't necessarily go out and debate Christians. I don't feel like I had, or people of other faiths, religions. I didn't necessarily go out and engage in like arguments and debates. I just live my life as though God wasn't real, because I feel like believing that was much easier. Because I would say from my Christian worldview now, I lived a very sinful lifestyle. I went out, I hooked up, I got drunk, I did drugs, I partied a lot, and I had no accountability because of that, because I didn't believe in God. So I really enjoyed my life, my sinful life. I didn't enjoy the results of it because it really led to
So
brokenness.
you had no family or friends?
So I wasn't raised in a church. I wasn't raised in a religious household. Um,
No, I'm just
did I know?
saying that just because I don't have a God doesn't mean I don't have accountability. I have family and I have friends, so I definitely have accountability.
So yeah, I don't. I would say I was a very selfish person, and like
Mm,
I think you're right. I think we are accountable to the people in our life. I
yeah.
think that's absolutely true. But I would say until I became born again, until I had, spiritual experiences, um, in Christ, that no, I didn't feel accountable to other people. I was selfish, and if I could cut a corner and get over on you, I would. I mean, I really was your prototypical um, narcissist, you know, sociopath, you could even say.
Yeah, yeah,
Absolutely.
Rob.
And I would put it back to you guys like this, because that's very true. And I'm certainly not narcissist or psychopath. Like there's no um
You're breaking
that
up for me. Is he breaking up for you?
Yeah.
Rob, can you get closer to your Wi-Fi? You're breaking up. Can hear you now. Oh wait, you got bars.
Can you hear me? Okay, yeah, no, I had to switch
I
to
can hear
cellular.
you. Yeah.
I'm in the car now.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I guess so yeah. So maybe you guys could go down that road a little bit with me. What do you say to a sociopath, narcissist from an atheist world point of view? Like, what's your argument against being that way? Because we
Yeah, I would
talk
Oh,
about
I
say
wouldn't
that
accountability.
talk to a sociopath narcissist. I would have them seek a doctor. I wouldn't give them any life advice.
Yep.
But what if they say they like their lifestyle, and that they think that there's no God, so there's no one that
I
they
would
really
still
need to
say you need medical professional help. I'm not a doctor or a therapist. I'm not here to give you that kind of advice.
I would exclude myself from their life at that point.
Right. Me too.
I mean, that's all you can do. But
Yeah.
back to what you were saying. So like when I was talking about how when I left the faith, I ground it in hope for a brighter future. So like living the sinful lifestyles you were talking about, that wouldn't be conducive in making a better life for my family and friends. So I would ground not doing those things in that rather than a God that's going to punish me for it.
Sure. I mean, I 100% agree that that's not building a better future. You know, um, I guess you know that. I guess my issue is that in moral relativism, from an atheist uh, point of worldview, like who's to say a Hitler, or who's to say Mao Zedong, who's to
This is
say that
just going to
they're
turn
wrong?
into a moral debate, and I don't think this is going to be productive for what we're doing tonight.
Okay,
But
okay, we can
I
steer
do
away
have
from
a
that.
question for you to take home and think about. You were
Sure,
an atheist. Who said
absolutely.
who you were one? You know that you had empathy. You know that you could make decisions. You knew what was good and bad. You didn't need a God for that. And if you do need a God for that, you're not a good person. Because a
Right.
good person knows not to hurt other people. A good person knows to do what's best for society and humanity. We don't need a God for that. But thank you so much for coming up. We're going to move on with the show. Joyful, I have some questions from the chat. Texas Panhandler says, do you guys get anxious before your live stream? I am 100% comfortable on stage, but streams are hard right now.
I am if I'm on somebody else's stream. Like this stream, no. But if I'm going up to, like, let's say I'm going on Deconstruction Zone or Joel or somebody, I am. But it isn't nervousness about anything other than I don't want to be seen as, like, imposing. So that's why a lot of times when I'm in those, I don't say a whole lot, because, like, I always, like, am just anxious about being perceived as being pushy or overtaking the live. So that would be the only anxiety I really get from it. Anymore.
Yeah, I don't get nervous going live 99.9% of the time. Every once in a while, I have a guest coming on, like when Daniel Green came on, when Dr. Blitz was on, when Ian was on. Those are people that I haven't had a chance to get to know very well yet in the community aspect. And so for some reason I get really nervous the night before their shows, and I can't sleep and stuff. But most of the time I don't get nervous. I feel like I'm just hanging out in a Zoom call with my friends or something. Hey Matlock, how are you tonight?
Hey, I'm doing great. It's funny.
Did you have
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No, you go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's funny listening to you have that conversation, because I was a little bit nervous coming up. But that little buffer made the nerves die down a little bit listening to you guys talk about
good.
that. So that was
Good.
nice. Long time listener, first time caller on this channel. You may remember me in the past as apologizing for you giving me shit for using caps in the comments. So if I've done that, I apologize.
Listen. I get so much shit from people in our community because I'm a mod everywhere, and then I say no caps, and then I use caps. So
yeah, I guess
they all
we're
give
guilty.
me shit for it, right, egg rolls?
Yeah. I just get a little worked up. I've been waiting for the right, I think, opportunity to ask this question, and I think this is the right panel to pose this to. I think Joyful might be able to help me out with this. Not to give you a long background, but real quick, grew up Catholic, and I give my mom grief sometimes for making me pay attention in church, because I say that's the reason why I'm an atheist now. So one of the things that I've been wrestling with lately, that I don't know exactly where to find it, is essentially, it feels like a lot of the Jesus miracles, let's say, are kind of in line with black magic, but also the Bible says specifically that that's the work of the devil and all this stuff. So I'm just like, I've kind of briefly browsed to see some different verses that say it's not good, but I guess, is there any one passage that, like, really hinges on the idea of, like, this is something that I guess would be in plain sight of, like, what Jesus did, falling in line of, like, what the Bible says you should not believe, like what you should believe is black magic, I guess.
I'm not sure about that specifically. I know that like conjuring the dead was seen at, like, Yahweh prohibited that, which
But
Jesus definitely did.
But wasn't there another time where somebody resurrected in the Old Testament?
Yeah.
Yes, but that was Yahweh himself who rose, but
Wait, didn't
those
Saul
were just
or somebody speak to the one of them
That
spoke
one.
to the one who died?
Elijah. Yeah,
No,
he spoke to.
no, I'm not. I'm no. What? Wait.
Crystal's onto it, yeah.
Yeah, hang on a second.
Yeah, he
Saul,
goes
I
to the
believe.
oracle, right? Is that what you're
Yeah.
talking about?
I thought it wasn't Elijah though. I thought it was Saul or something.
No, Samuel.
Oh,
Samuel.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess, I mean, wouldn't that be considered like directly in the face of like what they, like, wouldn't that be a perfect example of what they consider like the thing that should be impermissible? Like it's very contradictory, right? And I guess
It
I'm
is.
looking to, yeah,
But-
I guess I'm looking for something that says clearly, but maybe it's just a lot of passive nods at it.
Well, I would say, yeah, the best contradiction to Jesus's healings is healing blind men. And the reason that is Yahweh says that he creates the blind who are blind. He does that. He gloats that he makes them blind. I believe it's in Exodus. Like, that's like a thing that he literally says, I make people that can see, and I make those who are blind. I make those who can hear, and I make those who cannot hear deaf. So Jesus is healing something that Yahweh purposely made happen to somebody.
Direct contradiction.
Yep.
Interesting. But there's nothing that, like, if I'm trying to make the argument for Jesus is performing arts of black magic and the Bible says not to, it's kind of more or less an assortment of like passive things that say that, right? There's nothing direct.
Yeah, it's all going to be passive.
Okay.
I think that's the only real solid miracle that's a contradiction of the Old Testament.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I guess that's what I was looking for. It feels like the things that Jesus does are kind of contradictory in nature,
Well,
but I guess there's nothing direct to reference it to. Right?
it talks about
Yeah.
women not being witches, but it doesn't say men can't be. It just says women
Of course.
can't.
Why would it?
Why would it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I mean, let's see. I'm looking up right now. Hang on. A man or a woman who is a medium or a spiritist shall be put to death. They shall
All
be
right.
stoned to death. Their blood is upon them. So there's one. That's Leviticus 20:27, by the way.
Perfect.
No one shall be found among you who makes a son or a daughter pass through fire. That one. Or who practices divination, or is the soothsayer, an augur, or a sorcerer, or one who casts spells, or one who consults ghosts or spirits, or who seeks oracles from the dead. For whoever does these things is abhorrent to the Lord. Deuteronomy 18:10
Nice.
through 12.
Nice. That's pretty
Yeah,
pretty specific. Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay.
But the other verse is Exodus 4:11 about the blind, and what it actually says
Yeah.
is, the Lord said unto him, who hath made man's mouth, or who maketh the dumb or deaf, or the seeing or the blind? Have not I, the Lord, done this?
Interesting.
So Jesus directly heals people of things that he himself did. Or,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. Bang on. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, very cool. I knew I came to the right place for that question.
Yeah, absolutely. JD or Matlock, do you have any other questions right now? If not, I can ask another one, and you guys can stay up here in case you think of something.
I do have another one.
What did you
There's
want to say,
also one on
Joyful?
YouTube that's
there is
been
one
there
on
for a minute
YouTube.
from
I'm sorry.
Ackle. I'm not sure how to say your name. Ackle T. Though it's in all caps.
Why don't I see it? Oh, okay. Crystal and JA. Has it been hard for you to realize how morally depraved so many Christians are? It's been painful for me. I had no idea this was so common. Go ahead and answer first, and then I'll answer.
Okay, so I didn't see the way Christians was as being depraved when I was in the faith. But it does not surprise me the things they say, because they were the exact same things I said, even to my own wife, about our own children. If God told me to, I hope I would have the faith to do it. Like, it doesn't blow my mind that they say it, because that was me, 5 years ago. That was absolutely me. So it doesn't, like, blow my mind, or it's not that painful for me, just because it was me, if that makes sense.
I think that for me, I either lied to myself about how much I had read in the Bible, and I'm willing to admit that I've said that before, and then of course, which means I lied to others about it too, because I said I'd read it many times. Or I allowed apologetics to be my filter for the entire scripture, and so I believed the bullshit, like there was only indentured servitude, things like that. I was in so much cognitive dissonance that when I was a Christian, I didn't say those things that they say. Like, I didn't argue about slavery because I didn't even think it was in there. Like, nobody brought that to my attention until after I deconstructed. So I was under the assumption that even though I didn't believe in God, that Christians were good people, okay? Because I don't think I've changed a lot on where my morals were. You see what I'm saying? Like, I don't think leaving Christianity made me go, okay, now I love the LGBTQIA. I already loved them. I had already had this talk with my children when they were very young about how I don't care what a church teaches you, we don't believe that, okay? And stuff like that. So it did shock the fuck out of me when I was like, wait, you just said what? That you would rape your neighbor's kid if God told you to? What? Like, what the fuck did you just say? So yeah, it was a rude awakening for me. But it did allow me to see how much cognitive dissonance I had. It did allow me to realize that I lied to myself and to people a lot. Like, I totally would have been one of those people who told you, well, I looked into a lot of other religions and Jesus is like the real one, man. I didn't. By looking into a religion, I probably Googled it once, okay? I did not look into other religions, okay? So, I don't know. It was a lot of cognitive dissonance for me, but there was shock because of it, especially being on Joyful shows. Have you met the people who come up on Joyful shows? They're the wildest, I'm telling you.
They are.
Yeah.
I feel like it's karma. For the wild shit I said when I was a Christian. It kind of makes me believe in karma.
I offer.
Oh, go right ahead.
From a Canadian perspective, it has been such a, like, I almost want to say that we have like a softer form of it. Like, I grew up Catholic. We obviously have the evangelicals and the the hardcores up here, but it's just so much less common. I grew up going to a Catholic grade school, high school, even. I wore a uniform, that type of stuff. So I was like, we definitely have our versions of it, but coming to the TikTok space, and I don't want to harp on Americans, but I mean, listening to the lengths that, you know, you'd hear. Like, my association with Christianity growing up, I think, was more just with like traditional values and less of like what the actual book said. I don't think a lot of people referenced it to the extent that I sit here in these spaces and I listen to the way people throw around verses and try to manipulate the text and do all these things. And it's very surprising, from like growing up Catholic, but also feeling like I do think they just sugarcoated off over a lot of the horrific stuff in the Bible, and intentionally just left it out from my personal upbringing. Like, we didn't grapple with a lot of these difficult texts. We just never heard about them, right? So
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never
So if
heard
I-
of them until. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, Joyful. All I was going to
Um,
say, so if I never heard of them, I couldn't have read them, so I must have lied about reading the Bible. Like, I had to have been lying, or I would have known more about this shit. Anyway, go ahead, Joyful.
I knew that like the slavery stuff was in there. I don't think I ever thought about it that hard because we had to I was homeschooled and we had to read the Bible like for 2 hours, like I think it was an hour and a half a day. We had to read the Bible every day for school.
Wild.
So I did read all of it, and I knew that it said stuff about slavery and stuff, but I never really thought about it until I was older. And I used to watch a lot of Apologia. They go out and they do like street preaching, and they also go out to abortion clinics, and they're assholes in that way. But I used to think that was a good thing they were doing. But they also like would debate with atheists a lot. So I would hear these talking points that we talk about now, and I would go back and I would look up the apologetics. I would look at what my favorite theologians were saying, at what my favorite pastors were saying, and they explained it good enough to where I was just like, okay, that's fine. It's possible that what they said is true, so I'm just gonna run with that. That's my answer for it.
Well, I mean, in contrast, like, I had never heard apologetics until I got on this app. And, like, I watch this stuff all the time now. I'm in deep, and I get a big kick out of all of it. But I had literally never heard the bulk of these arguments for the book until within the last handful of years. You know, I'm 37, and I haven't been a faithful person for many, many years, but I had just fallen out on my own accord. There was nothing that like really did it, pulled me away, or nothing that was trying to keep me in. So I never heard these apologetics. So it does feel a little bit out of the ordinary to hear people saying this stuff, because nobody would ever, like, I don't know if it's a Canadian thing or not, but we would never have people that would like go to bat for these arguments. You know what I mean? They wouldn't really come up, but we also just never heard it before, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting to hear the dynamic between the two countries. You think they're so similar sometimes, and then, you know, you start having these conversations and go a little bit deeper into the nuance, and it is a bit of a contrast, especially growing up in a Catholic grade school and high school, you know?
Yeah, and
Especially
like my
when-
kids...
Oh, go ahead.
My kids went, even though I wasn't Catholic, even when I was Christian, my kids, my youngest still goes to a Catholic school. He's in 5th grade, and he'll go to public school next year. So, like, my kids, our family was never Catholic, but they go to Mass, and they like to do the readings at Mass, and I'll go watch it, or whatever.
Can I ask you something? Like, so, over here growing up, by the time I hit high school, I was at a Catholic high school, but there were Muslims that attended my high school. You know what I mean? And there were people of other faiths. Is that something that's common in the States, or is that...
Around here, yes.
Okay.
Like not in my town. The only private school we have in my town is only elementary. I live in a
But
pretty
this
small
was
town.
public Catholic.
Oh, yeah, we don't have that.
Okay, yeah, no, we're part of the public school board, but it's a Catholic like version of it.
Oh, yeah, we don't have that here.
Like, I get so we're part of the Christian. It's hard to explain. Like, there's the Christian school board, but it's like funded and like fully. It's not a private system. Like, I went there fully funded by our government systems to attend there. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
It definitely was not a private. We didn't pay anything to go there.
Yeah, Mike, but I don't pay anything either because I qualify with the amount of dependents I have
Gotcha.
for the diocese to pay for my kid to go
Okay.
there.
Okay.
So the diocese funds me going there, but we don't.
Interesting.
We don't like. I wouldn't be surprised if soon we do, but as of right now, we don't have Christian public schools or Catholic public schools.
Yeah, because these are part of our school board. Like, this is a full like Christian school board that's like, it's cut like nobody's paying to go to the schools. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, all of our
Yeah.
schools are free, right? Yeah, no, so that's interesting, but yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's just there's definitely some dynamics between the two, and it feels very nuanced sometimes. But then when you get talking about like especially when it comes down to religion, it plays such a massive role in some things where I think that we're fortunate that it doesn't have as much of a powerful influence over here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah,
but anyways,
but-
I really appreciate the answer to that, and just I figured this was the place to ask. So.
Well, thank you for asking it. I want to ask you another question, Joyful. Also, welcome in everybody. If you're just joining us, it's Decon Q&A with CrystalJae, and tonight's guest is Joyful Apostate. He is on his JA Debates account tonight. If you haven't tuned into JA Debates, you should. It's really amazing. He has great co-hosts every week, and sometimes he's not even there, and you get people like me and Sam taking over his channel for the night. Liz has a question and says, I have a question for Joyful. He's in the hot seat tonight. I thought you were telling me you had a question for him. Okay. Solo Vino, welcome in. How are you? If you want to come up and ask him a question, you can, Solo. It's always good to see you.
I love
Joyful,
Solo.
I do too. I love him.
Solo is amazing.
Joyful, do you think bricklaying and art both scratch the same creative itch, or do you feel that it's different?
It depends on what I'm doing brick-wise. Like, I've sent you pictures of some of the things I do that I do feel like is art. Like, that big chimney I sent you or something like that.
That's cool.
But then there's, like, the monotonous work of just laying brick, like, on a wall out of the house, and it's not really art. You're just, yeah.
Just repetitive.
Yeah. So, there are definitely times where I get to do my own creative ideas. To some extent, I have to pass them by either the homeowner but a lot of time there's a lot of leeway for artistic things in bricklaying for sure. And I do enjoy those jobs the best.
Do you mind getting a little personal? Do you mind if I ask you about your sexuality?
What do you mean?
Like when you came out?
Okay, so that's a good question. All right, so still in like early on into my deconstructing religion, this was like not like maybe a month into like absolutely saying I don't believe in God anymore. I would say that like my coming out was more like gradual. It wasn't like to everybody at once. But my parents were like the biggest hard hitter because, like, they're my parents. I was brought up a certain way, and I told my dad. I never really even came out to my mom. I'm sure that she knows what I told my dad, but for something like that, I just don't see the benefit. If yeah, she's a little staunch in her ways, so he is a very devout Christian, but I told him one night, and I had a breakdown afterwards because I told him everything. Like, I was like still in this very deep depressed state, and I just like went way overboard in sharing. I told him about the SA that I had never told anybody about. I told him about not believing God anymore. I told him and I told him that I have always been attracted to both men and women, and I always felt at home like that was something bad I was doing, and I don't think it's something bad anymore. I think that that's just who I was, and yeah, I think that's just who I was, and so like that, and then like I just assume because my family do talk a lot, like they're over at my parents' house all the time, which I used to be, but like I just kind of steer clear for the most part. But and then like I just casually would bring it up in conversation if talking about leaving the faith with one of my siblings. Not casually, because usually it was not a great conversation, but it would just kind of be in there in those conversations. So I'd say the coming out thing would have been more to my dad and Holly too, to some extent, because like she didn't know that. She didn't know until that point that I was attracted to both. So there was that as well.
So I just wanted to know, what religion were you?
Reformed Baptist would be the best way to describe it. I was in Reformed Baptist churches, but I was also in non-denominational churches that followed the same doctrine as Reformed Baptist, but were not part of the affiliation.
Got you. So after you came out, do you feel that accepting who your bisexual identity, do you think that it gave you any kind of new perspective on love and relationships, specifically yours?
Can you ask that one more time?
Yeah, after you like came out and you accepted your bisexual identity, do you think that gave you like a new perspective on love and relationships in your life?
Yes, and it's kind of hard to, because a lot of my ideas of love and relationships was changing so quickly because of the deconstruction itself. It's hard to say if that was part that took place in that. But like, one of the hardest things I had to tell my wife is I didn't know if I ever really loved her before my deconstruction, because I felt like I was fulfilling something that was a duty, and when she left the faith, like a part of me hated her. So like, did I really love you ever? You know, do I even know what that looks like? And I almost had to learn what it was like to actually love somebody. it was kind of a learning process for me.
You had to learn also what it meant and what it looked like for somebody to truly love you, didn't you?
Yes, I'm still learning that. I'm still working on
Yeah.
that one.
That's a hard one to recognize when, especially when you have somebody who uses and manipulates you at a young age, because then our natural instinct is to put up guards against that, and our brain does that whether we want it to or not. And so what often might be sincere or good-willed intentions or signs of affection, we have to question them. We have to go, okay, I've been told I'm not worthy of love, and they're showing a sign of love. So is that really them showing a sign of love, or are they also doing a thing to manipulate me like people have done in the past? And so it makes things a little bit harder. Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, like, part of it was I'm trying to think of how to phrase this. So I think a big part of it is I felt like I had the faith to lay my life down for God and Jesus, but I don't think I had the love to lay my life down for my wife and my kids. I would have done anything I felt God told me to, but I don't know that I had that dedication to my wife and kids because I was giving it to God. I was neglecting a lot of things with home and stuff, giving it to God. So I feel like part of it was that. It was just that change from realizing that God wasn't this thing I was giving it all to, and then realizing this is what love looks like. Now I do want to give my life for my kids and my wife. Like, there's no God I have to do this for. Like, it opened me up to be able to love somebody like they should be loved.
That's really powerful.
I got a
solo world. Okay, go right ahead.
Okay, excuse me. So something I struggle with, Joyful. So I was in children's ministry for many years. You were a pastor. So how do you deal with the guilt of knowing like all the lies and just the horrible things that you taught and told people during your time of preaching? Because I still struggle with guilt all the time.
I struggle with guilt to some extent. I feel a little like I've rectified a lot of that through what I do here, and I am very vocal with people. If they ask me where I go to church, I'm like, I don't go to church. I'm an atheist. I read the Bible and it's an atrocity. It's horrible. I was honest with myself finally and left the faith. Like, something to that effect. So I feel like I am honest with those I see, to the point where I got my name, Joyful Apostate, because one of my closest friends told me I was an apostate when I was reaching out to him because I was depressed and I was getting, like, this faith didn't make sense anymore, and I was reaching out to him, and he just basically told me I'm an apostate. Like, there's nothing he can do to help me. I'm just an apostate. And so that's where my name came from. So I feel like I've rectified a lot of it. There are things that I still see today, like, especially in my siblings' lives. Like, I was marriage counseling my sister, and her husband was unfaithful in a very bad way. I'm not going to get into their stuff. But I counseled her that God was against divorce. And I do feel guilty about that because she is still with this guy today, and they've had all these issues, and I was the first counselor to tell her God does not want divorce. If you can bear with it, you should stay with it. If you can't, he gives leeway for it, but you shouldn't if there's any possible way you can get past it. And that's something that does weigh on me. So yeah.
Yeah, I think I struggle with it because I was teaching kids.
Yeah.
Because they're so easily influenced. They all love me, and they trusted me and believed me. I do feel happy when I do see, like, because they're like teenagers and young adults now. So seeing them like walking away from the church, that does make me feel good. But
yeah.
But yeah, it's not easy.
JD, were you indoctrinated?
Yeah, I was indoctrinated. Yeah.
I had the same guilt as you did because I was a youth pastor, and I have a friend, and I really brought her into Christianity full force, and now she has 4 kids, and she's indoctrinating them, and I felt a lot of personal guilt towards that until somebody in this very community reminded me that I was indoctrinated. And my indoctrination taught me that if I loved children, then I would share this information with them too, that it was the loving thing to do. And
Right.
that my intentions all along, although we know that the intentions don't take away what I did, they were to love and to be loving and to do something good. And that was based on the fact that I was indoctrinated. I can't go back and undo all that, or I would. And I would go to each person and apologize. But as you and I know, none of them would listen to me anyway. And they would tell me that they need to pray for me or something. It wouldn't help. Like, I can't do that. So what I do is help as many people in this community as I can. Trying to balance it out a little bit in my brain. And I see nothing wrong with that. It does help my guilt, because when I get messages from people who tell me, hey, you really, really helped me, then I go, hey, now I can cross off Jennifer. Next I'll cross off little Timmy. You know what I mean? And it just does help me, because I can't go back because they're not going to listen to me. If I could, I would. I would walk up to each of them and say, I'm so sorry, and I realize the truth now, and here it all is, and you should leave this cult because I was completely wrong, but I can't do it because they would never listen.
No, they would never would. Well, yeah, that's motivation for me to start doing lives again.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Hey, Solo, welcome to the show. How are you tonight?
All right, Crystal, I'm about to drop down. Listen, I have to trim the dog's nails. So.
All right, JD, thanks for being here. Good night, Liz.
Love you, babe.
Love you, Crystal. Love you, Joyful.
Love you
Night.
guys. See you later. Hey, Solo, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks. I have a really bad habit of not really knowing the question that I'm asking, and so it ends up being this really long, sermon. It's because I think it's because my dad's a pastor, and I just sort of learned to bullshit for a long period of time and bore people. So let me just ask a very straightforward question. So, Joyful, do you consider yourself deconstructed, or do you think you'll always be deconstructing?
I would be a forever deconstruction. I don't think I could ever get... I think there's some things that are so ingrained that it's going to be a struggle most likely forever.
Yeah. So I guess the follow-up to that is, what are the things that are the hardest for you to deconstruct fully or to let go of?
The inherent evil aspect. I still feel inherently evil, and I don't know that I can ever bring the logical part of me to make the emotional part of me accept that. So that's a real tough one for me.
Yeah. So you feel inherently evil in the sense that you feel like you're born into sin, or because of your lifestyle or something like that?
Yeah, so I think, like, I feel inherently evil because I do things that hurt people I love. And I don't understand how somebody that isn't evil would do things that hurt people they love. So, like, my emotional self doesn't. Logically, I understand it. Like, I could go through, like, a syllogism even on it, because I've wrote them out to try to help myself. But my, like, the feelings, emotion part of me just can't get there. I just feel that way.
Can I ask a follow-up question on this? Do you think that when other people hurt you, that they are evil for hurting you?
No. And that's one reason I know that, like, I will... This is something Holly has done several times when I'm, like, really, like, depressed. Because she knows, like, I get very much like, you guys deserve better, I'm just bad, I'm never gonna be good, I'm just bad. And she's like, you still think this person is good, and he's done everything that you've said you've done. He's done it all, and you think this person is good, so why can't you put that on yourself? And like, I feel like if people really... This is a very real thought, and I know it's a very real thought because when I'm really depressed, this is, like, very loud in my head, that if people really knew me, like, knew what I think, they would hate... There's not a person on earth that would love me. So that, like, gives me a, like, inherent evil, like, vibe. You know what I mean?
I don't think I would like anyone if I knew all their deepest, darkest thoughts, because I think our thoughts go places that we can't control. And I think they can go to the darkest places in the universe, and we can't control that. So if I could, like, hear or see any human being's deepest, darkest thought, I think that would affect how I think of them. Thank God we don't share all our thoughts, because all our thoughts are not meant to be shared. And that doesn't make me a bad person. But you know, you probably have that because Jesus became the thought police, you know, in the Bible. It was like, no longer do I tell you if you actually have sex with this woman, you're a sinner, but now if you just think about it. And so suddenly you had the thought police, you know?
Yeah. It's very deeply indoctrinated, and so I think a lot of it is, like we were talking about earlier with the coming out. Like, I have this ingrained, constant feeling of being a wicked, vile person because I found same-sex attraction. And I would pray about it and everything. So I think there were so many confirmation biases growing up that I was just an evil person, that at some point that is just my only thought of myself was I am an evil person. And I tried to rectify it through being a pastor and doing this and that for God and all of these things, but at the end of the day, therapy is what I needed, not that. But like I said, I don't know that I will ever deconstruct that. Yeah, that's going to be a hard one for me.
Well, thank you for sharing. I got to get an early night's sleep here. I get up at 5 in the morning, so I'm gonna go to bed. But thank you for allowing me to come up and ask a question, and thank you for being so honest about your answer.
Love
Solo,
you, Solo.
thank you for being here. Everybody follow Solo and just give him some love in the comments. He's amazing. Thank you for being here, Solo. Sleep well.
Yeah.
I
Send me
hope
some
you have a good
gifts
night's
too.
sleep. Yeah, send him some gifts too.
Before I go to bed, one of you sinners down there send me a galaxy or something.
Yeah,
Don't be insistent.
do that.
Quit being so selfish.
All right, I'll see you guys later.
See you, Solo.
Well, joyful to me. Okay, so let me ask a clarifying question. Oh, wow, way to go, nerd. That is amazing. Nerd does it. Nerd unleashed, yes.
W Solo.
Hell yeah. Joyful, and you know, any question I ask you, if it's too personal, you can just pass. I just know you a little better, so I know some things, and I want to
say
talk
it.
about them if you're okay, but are you
I am good.
bisexual or are you pan?
I would say pan.
Okay. So I wanted to say that specifically because I wanted to tell you something. The next time that voice in your head tells you that there's something inherently wrong with you because of that, I want you to know that makes you more loving and more lovable. You are open to love with everybody. Like, how the fuck can that be bad? Where the fuck in the world can that be bad? Where the fuck in heaven and earth can that be bad?
Fair point. Yeah, so yes, I am pan. The one thing that I have not came out at all, besides with my kids and my wife, know that I prefer like a they pronoun, but I don't push it on anybody. I present male. I get it, but I do prefer it because I feel like it more suits who I am as a person. So like that's one thing I haven't came out to my family about because I'm not there yet.
Well, I'm glad you came out to us with that. I will definitely try to keep cognizant of that because I think it's important that we do. First of all, I think that it's important that there's representation for pan people, for bi people, for non-binary people, for trans people, and I think that we need to respect their pronouns because that is the very, very smallest way that we can show our support for people in the community. And so I will try to remain cognizant. I texted Sam last night because I told them, hey, I think I misgendered you, and I just want you to know I would never do that on purpose. And of course, they were very sweet and were like, no, I knew you would never do that on purpose. But yeah, and I think it's important. I know it's important for my children, and so I want to respect that for you. So going forward, you will be they, them for me.
Okay, well, I appreciate that. I don't, like, my kids don't, and I don't care. We are all my whole family, like my kids, us, we do Pride, we do all that. We are very trans affirming. We're about all the things. But like I mentioned it once, and then it was just like, just, they're my kids. They've always known me as dad and the man, so like it doesn't offend me at all.
No, I have a child who is non-binary and prefers doesn't prefer, doesn't care. They, them, she, her. So I don't switch to they, them because I've said she, her for so many years now, and she doesn't care. But her fiance says they, them, and I always know who they're talking about, when they do that or whatever. But yeah, I think that it's different in the family, but in the community, we should really kind of support each other in those areas. You misgender yourself still? Well, the funny thing is, when you get my age, you misgender people who are very obvious genders too. So, like, I will call my husband she, her sometimes, just because, like, I'm 60 and I say stupid shit. That's why, I'm almost 60. So.
Well, I think my problem is that I'm not out on that, so I misgender myself all the time just because
that makes sense.
Yeah, because my boundaries and, like, unsafe territory for it requires me to do so to keep that boundary. I'll get there someday, I'm sure.
You guys, the guest box is open. If you have a question for Joyful Apostate, JA Debates, come on up, ask him your question. If you cannot come up or are too shy or what have you, you can put your comment or question in the chat in all caps, and I'll be happy to read it out for him. You can do that over here on TikTok or YouTube. What's one Bible passage you used to preach that you now interpret through an affirming LGBTQ lens, if there is any?
Can you say it one more time? So I'm having a hard time.
That's okay. What's one Bible passage that you used to preach that now you see it through an affirming LGBTQ lens?
Just 1 second. Let me look up the exact verse.
Okay.
Because I will butcher it.
Hey, you guys, we're going to be live for about 45 more minutes. In a little bit, we're going to play the game Divine or Decline. If you want to join the stage to play the game, just go ahead and put your request in. I will bring you up. Also, if we can get to 100,000 likes by the end, that would be great. I also have a gift goal. If you can help me reach that, that would be great. And you can gift my panelists.
May I? I'm just gonna get out of the way here. Thank you so much for having me up. I love the both of you and your content. I can't say enough great things about all you're doing. And I'm just gonna get out of the way here. You guys rock.
You're not gonna stay and play?
Oh, are we going into it right now? Is it that soon? Or
We're in just a little bit, like about 15 minutes, we're gonna go into it.
Okay, maybe I'll come back up, but I'm just gonna get out of the way right now.
Okay.
I think my dog needs a little walk here. You don't want to listen to me walking him. Okay, take care. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Matlock. You have a great night.
Mine would be the one of his disciples, the one whom Jesus loved, was reclining close to his heart. And it actually says, if you go to the thing, the footnote says that his bosom. So the disciple that gloats that Jesus loved him, laid his head on his chest, and it was pointed out that he was doing it, so I would assume this is something affectionate that happens more than just this time. So kind of through that lens, it seems as if there was a relation unlike the other relations, which I don't think necessarily like John and Jesus were doing the dirty, but I do think that there was a specialness to the relationship that was probably of a romantic sort.
Yeah, absolutely.
If
Carrie
he was real
asked,
and the story has any truth.
Yeah, true. Carrie asked, Joyful, would you ever consider selling your art?
$1 billion. No, I mean, I would be willing to give away my art. It just sits in a stack of my art. I don't even hang them up in the house. They just kind of accumulate. So if somebody is interested in it, let me know, and I could probably send you one.
That would be cool. How do you find ways to express spirituality now, if at all? Like, do you believe in anything like that? Do you feel like the need to express that part of who you were?
No, not at all. In fact, like, I like to do things like I bought a Ouija board, I've bought a Buddha. Actually, I was given a Buddha. This was just the other day.
That's cool.
Like, I like to surround myself with what would be considered occult because my lack of belief in spiritual things.
That's cool. I kind of like to do that too. As a matter of fact, I think that when I do conversations with Christians, I have a crystal ball somewhere around here, and I'm going to pull out my crystal ball every now and then with them because they get weirded out about my crystals. And like one person even was like, so what do the crystals have to do with it? And I'm like, my name is Crystal. So now I think I'm going to lean into that a little. Lean into the crystals a little. Do you think the discipline of laying bricks gives you insight into the process of rebuilding your worldview after faith?
Say that again.
Do you think that, like, being a bricklayer and the way, like, that you are building things, do you think that that in a way has helped you rebuild your worldview after leaving the faith?
In a way, because I've learned to appreciate something I do and take pride in something that isn't like giving glory to God or whatever. So like I take pride in myself in that, and so that has helped me a lot mentally, being able to take pride in something. So yeah.
Yes, Miko, that was a Doug sighting. Yes, that is him.
We got a shirtless Doug sighting yesterday. Yeah.
You did say put his shirt on after that. Because I go, hey, don't walk behind me. He goes like, oh, they can see me. Yeah, it gets high
forever
California
on YouTube.
People. It is.
It's forever on YouTube. I wanted to say one thing just really quick. Liz, if you're still in here, speaking of Liz, I did want to say I was going to edit out that whole last part out of the video because I felt like maybe people would see it as like whiny or something from the live last night. I was thinking about editing it out, but you saying that, I'm definitely going to keep it. I just wanted to put that out there. I was thinking about that a little bit ago.
No, I think it needs to be there. Yes, it does get hot on Crystal's lives. When you create art, Do you see it as a form of personal healing or more as a communication with others? Or both?
I think healing definitely, because again, it's something that I can take pride in and find value in myself.
Okay, as one artist to another, you ever do this? You create something, like you picture it in your head, right? And you're like, I'm going to do this, right? And then you go and you create it. And as you go, it becomes more organic, right? Because what you picture in your head is never exactly what gets laid down on the paper, at least not from me. Because there's this organic flow to it that it takes over. You know, it has a life of its own, if you will. And then I get done, and sometimes I look at my piece of art and I'm like, fuck, I did that. Do you ever do that?
Yep. Definitely.
It's so cool, huh? It's like,
it is.
Yeah, it's a really good feeling.
I did that.
Yeah. How do you balance being vulnerable about your own story while respecting boundaries about what not to share publicly?
It took me a while to determine what should be shared publicly and what shouldn't. Before, like, I would say things that are very personal and I should keep to myself, or to people that are trustworthy. But like, recognizing trustworthy people was very difficult for me, so I just kind of would trauma dump, kind of, and just like so it's been a learning process for me, but mainly if it's anything that isn't going to my main boundary is if it brings somebody else into it, or if you're not somebody I trust and you want details, I have a boundary set. But like in the community and in like my siblings watch my lives, so I'm sure like they've seen some of the things I say, but I would never offer some of the things outright to them. So it's kind of just determining who's safe and who's not. And there are certain aspects that I would, of my childhood trauma, I would never share with, on a live. Personally, if I was DM'd about something, I would probably share it. But, basically, or like details of my essay, I would never share, just because it's very triggering for me and it causes a lot of depression to do that.
Yeah.
So like there's those, but in general, there's nothing really that I wouldn't share, if I could keep it to generalities.
Yeah, I get that. I'm a person who very much compartmentalizes things, and I do share. I think I share a lot about, you know, my life, my past traumas that I've experienced and stuff. I try to keep a lot of names out of things that I say because, you know, I like to protect the innocent, if you will, you know. But yeah, I think it is a delicate balance, you know. Which do you think was harder for you? Leaving the pulpit or finding your voice after?
Actually, leaving being an associate pastor wasn't very hard because I did that before my deconstruction. Because the Bible is very specific about how a church should be run. Through Paul's writings, I feel. and even to this day I feel. And so I kind of left the church completely before my deconstruction, after my wife left, and I was like, if I am pouring myself into this, I'm going to do it like you're supposed to do it. I'm really going to pour into it. Sorry.
Bless you.
So I left the church to study and study and study, and that kind of led to this devolving of my faith. This, what does a church look like? What do Christians really look like according to the Bible? What this, what that? And between that and Holly's questioning, that's what kind of led to my deconstruction. So leaving the pulpit wasn't that hard. So I would say the latter.
Finding your voice after.
Yep.
So what does authenticity look like to you now compared to like before you deconstructed?
Whew. Authenticity looks like being vulnerable for the sake of others. Now, back then it was only like presenting the good, keeping that face, putting the best foot forward. And I think because I felt like authentically that is me doing the work of God. So I felt like that was authentic living. Now, I know that vulnerability and sharing are not the way, but is a great way to help other people. So I'm more open about my failures and my struggles and my past than I ever would have been as a Christian. Because I would have deemed it unhelpful.
Yeah, I agree. Actually was very, I was really brought up in a very fake house, and I was always taught to be very fake. Yeah, we always put on a front. There was nothing real about us, and I see that so many times in Christians. Like I'm like, there is nothing authentic about this person sitting in front of me right now. As we wrap up the question portion, what I want to know now is about JA debates. Tell me about JA debates, how you evolved your channel, and where you want to see it go.
Alright, so this channel, I want to bring a more the line type style to TikTok, and also I want it to be a very diverse, robust amount of people that are coming on, because atheists aren't a monolith, and I think it's important to give a voice to people that don't have a voice otherwise. Like, there's a lot of great people I know that get 4 people in their lives. There's a lot of great people I know that just TikTok never shows love to, or YouTube, and I want to get their voices out there. And so I think from here on out, once a month, like, we are going to figure out something, whether Crystal's on it or somebody else, of having a pair of female presenting people to host the show, because I think that's a big part of it. And also I want to get minorities of all kinds to come in and be on live. So that's what this channel's about. I hope it grows. I hope it does well. I hope that people see that everybody I hope through it people see that everybody in the community has a voice that wants to have a voice, and that's my hope. Is people will feel comfortable messaging me. I do require to get to know you a little bit if I don't know you, kind of where you're coming from, because I don't want to get somebody on there and have to like kick them. That's something I don't want to happen on the live. So I do require like a little back and forth and understanding of where somebody's coming from before I'm going to platform them on there. But I want people to know they have a voice, and if that's through my channel, that's where we're going to get it.
Hey Skippy, are you gonna come up and troll me, or do you have a real question?
Would you like to be trolled?
Not really.
Okay. I don't. Okay, I won't troll you then.
Okay. Just wondering if you were gonna do that. That happens a lot. Did you have a question for JA Debates?
What are we deconning?
Oh, this is a deconstruction Q&A, and we're talking to a joyful apostate from JA Debates tonight, and we're asking him questions.
Sure, but like what? Like just from like theism in general, or like from a specific branch? What's the vibe?
Christianity.
So like Christianity as like a political and social institution, or like propositional claims?
I
all the above.
deconstructed, yeah, from all of it.
Okay. So like, what do you think you would have been less likely to deconstruct if it wasn't for the social and political elements?
No. All it took was actually reading the Bible and being honest.
That's true.
So do you think if your faith was entirely like if your faith was entirely in line with your values, do you think you would be more likely to stay in your faith?
If it was completely aligned with my values?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, why not?
Because of if a book is inspired by God,
Sure.
it shouldn't contradict, it shouldn't have bad science, it shouldn't fail at every scrutiny that you make of the Messiah being the Messiah. When you go and look at the prophecies, Jesus didn't fulfill any of them in their original context. And the best you can say is he's going to do it later. It's in a, like, when you put it all together, it's like a grade school writing. A bunch of sheep herders wrote a book, and it just doesn't go together. Like, even, for instance, we were talking earlier, Jesus healing the blind man.
Sure.
All right, so Jesus healed something that he as God did, according to the book. Because according to Exodus 4:11, God makes he who is blind blind. So God made him blind, and then God healed him from his blindness. That's
Sure.
not some great thing he did. He just redid. It just makes no sense when you put it all together.
Sure. I mean, so are you only like, that's a very literalist fundamentalist view, right?
That's a very authentic way of reading the text, yes.
Yeah, so like most Christian scholars are not fundamentalists, right?
But I don't
Okay.
care what most Christian scholars are. If you're a Christian scholar, you already have a bias towards the text. So
Yeah, I
you're,
agree.
of course, going to say, hey, I'm not going to take this all literal, because when I do take it literal, it is so obvious that it contradicts itself. So instead, I'm going to massage the text to make it mean something pretty and make me feel comfy inside. So I don't care whether they take it literal or not. What I do care about was, what were the original writers writing this for? And that was for a tribe called the Israelites. And it was for them to feel bigger and badder than they were. And then other people took it, appropriated it, changed it, added on to it, and created cults that became Christianity, Jehovah's Witness, Mormonism, Islam. And so I don't really care what Christian scholars say, unless what's an Old Testament scholar?
I feel like that's how you like. Well, I feel like that's how you interact with people intellectually. Like just saying that you don't care what they believe, but also you know that they're wrong. That just feels like axiomatic disagreement, right? That feels like it doesn't matter at that point what like a human being has to say about what they believe.
Skippy,
it's just like an axiomatic proposition.
Yeah, but Skippy, we know what words mean. We are literate, and we can read what a book says, and we know when there's hyperbole, and we know when there's not through literary construct. Anybody that is understanding and very literate knows when something's hyperbole, and these scriptures are not hyperbole, any of the ones I brought up. Jesus healing the blind man and God saying he's the one that makes people blind, those are literal things that supposedly Yahweh said, and Jesus did. So we know they're not hyperbole.
Sure, but Episcopalians aren't even tied to like the idea that the Gospels are literal. They're like, oh, they were like communities of people that had some sense of who Jesus was. So like the fact that you can find like single line contradictions feels
but it's
like
over and over
there's
again.
no reason to believe any of it, Skippy.
Sure,
it's
but,
over and over again.
Sure, but that doesn't seem like how people use the text, right?
Right. They
Like
use it to make themselves feel good, and they change the words and they change the definitions. They change the meaning of the entire text to help give them the warm, fuzzy feelings. I want to read the text for what it says, what it was meant to say, and what it was originally for.
And so what do you feel like the early Christian text, like either pre-Gospels or post-Gospels, were for?
I believe that the Old Testament scriptures were for a tribe called the Israelites. And it was a lot of fan fiction. It was meant to embolden the people, strengthen them, make them feel more united. I believe that they wanted to feel that their God was bigger than other gods because their God wasn't, and they weren't a great people. And this helped them. It helped them answer a great people, and this helped them. It helped them, so they filled in gaps with this God along the way. But I don't think it was ever intended for some lady living in Southern California in the year 2025.
So, okay, and so what is that like? So you're saying that it's not meant for modern people? Is that what your argument is?
No, it was never meant for modern people. It was meant for the ancient Israelite. No more than any writings we find from any other ancient tribe across the entire globe. You don't go to any other one and say, this was meant for me. I need to read about the Cherokee tribe and take everything that they taught each other and make it be my personal scriptures now. You don't do that.
I mean, current Cherokee people do that. Like, people
Cherokee
do
people do that. And so Jewish people do this because they are the descendants of the Israelites. But I'm not, and I don't think you are.
Sure, but so you're like, is it like an argument that it's more likely to be false because it was culturally appropriated? Like what? Like I just don't understand what that has to do.
It's more likely to be false because it is false. I mean, we know there was no flood, there was no exodus, there was no, you know.
So
know
like,
it's false.
Sure. So like, I guess I just don't understand why it's important, like who believed it at what time. I guess like we understand historically how it evolved, right? And like. Right,
but do you think every Christian knows that?
Historical mapping of that?
Do you think that Christians learn that? Do you
I
think most Christians in America learn that?
That like the Roman Empire slowly
the history.
became Catholic? Yeah, I think that's pretty
The
common
whole
knowledge.
no, they don't. No, it's
Yeah.
not common knowledge. I talk to Christians day in and day out. They have no clue. They don't even realize that the Old Testament wasn't for them. It wasn't written about Jesus. They really have no clue where this book came from. They don't know which part of it was written in Hebrew or Greek. They have no clue.
Sure. So why? But like, okay. So, but why is that important?
Well, because I think history is important. One, so we don't repeat awful things that we've done in the past, which we're doing right now. Two, we learn, we grow, we understand people better, times better. History is important for us.
And
But
and
true
I want
things
to
are important for us too.
Yeah, but like
and
for the practice of people who are like functioning.
was like the prophecies that are supposed to be. Yahweh said that prophecy must come to fruition during the life of the prophet. So either Yahweh lied, which is another inconsistency in your Bible, or the prophecies made about Jesus were not prophecies about him at all. That's what you're stuck with. And then you realize this was written for the Jewish people of the time, the Israelites. And that is why these aren't about Jesus. This is about things they were going through in that time. And
I
then
mean,
the whole New Testament falls apart when you don't have prophecies of a Messiah that's going to come during the era of Jesus.
So okay, so like so you would say like the first century. So like it didn't just random like Christianity didn't come from nowhere, right?
No, it
Uh,
didn't just come from nowhere.
no,
It was appropriated from the
propaganda,
Jewish
just like
culture.
It wasn't
yeah.
appropriated because they were the same people.
It was appropriated.
Did Joseph
But they
Smith?
weren't all the
They
same
were
people.
Jews. Like that's who the first audience for Jesus was, Jews. That's who the New Testament was written for, was Jews.
No,
Right?
it was,
Like you
Once
can't
you
appropriate
become a
from
Christian, you are no longer a Jew. Okay.
that's not
Hate to
what
tell
they
you
would have.
that.
No, that's not what the Jews at
Ethnically,
the
you
time.
can be, but not religiously. You can be.
Sure, yeah. So at the time, right? At the time, the people who believed in Jesus, there was a continuity to that belief.
yeah, but
Right?
it was also for the Gentiles, was it not?
Yes, but later. So Paul says first the Jews and the Gentile. All the earliest writings were for were extremely Jewish. Mark was extremely Jewish. Matthew was extremely Jewish. First Corinthians was extremely
Those aren't early writings. Those are decades after Jesus died.
Well, I just mean the earlier Gospels. Like you can say like John is the most Jewish, but John is also the latest. So that doesn't really tell you anything about like who the audience was for early on. But if you look at like the Pauline letters, which were the earliest, yeah, he had a very obviously and very extraordinarily Jewish audience. So this idea that it was like appropriated by other
No,
people doesn't make sense.
His
It makes more sense
his
if
letters
it's a
are
natural
not to the
evolution of the
Jews.
people who
What
already
are you
believed it.
even talking about? His letters
Yeah.
are all to Gentiles.
You think that he was telling people that they don't have to be circumcised because they were Gentiles?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, because that's what they said in the letter in Acts.
Who
so
was telling them
Ju-
that they had to
hold
be
on,
circumcised?
Skippy, hold on.
It
So
was the
in
Jewish
Acts,
people.
Skippy, shut the fuck up.
Listen.
So
Listen.
in Acts 15, there's a letter. Paul goes to the apostles and says, "Hey, what should I be teaching the Gentiles about keeping the law?" And they said that they did not list circumcision. There's only 4 things they said they need to abstain from: idolatry, eating blood. What was the other one?
So is your
Sexual
argument
immorality.
So is your argument that
Can
early
you let
Christianity-
Joyful finish? Skippy, we have listened to you. Please don't interrupt, okay? It's not, we're not going to do it,
Okay,
okay?
it's
Let
just
Joyful
like whatever
finish.
these laws
Let
were
him
doesn't
finish.
matter really.
Let him finish, please.
Well, what I'm saying is the reason Paul was telling the Gentiles they don't need to be circumcised is because the Jews were telling them they did. And he was saying, no, the apostles said, the Holy Spirit said you don't have to. That is why he is telling the Gentiles, and he even says that he is the apostle to the Gentiles. Paul says that himself. He was never writing to Jews.
So is your
Hey,
is
listen.
your
Oh, wait,
argument,
before we
is your
continue on
argument that
anymore.
early
Wait,
Christianity was not a
Skippy,
Jewish
I
movement?
have
This
to tell you
turned
who
into
I
a
am. Let me introduce you to who I am. I'm the host. Okay, so when I talk, you absolutely do not. If you would like to debate on JA Debate sometime, he goes live on Monday and Thursday nights at 3:30 p.m. Pacific time. I'm going to go ahead and drop you down because this is not what my live's about. And I'm going to ask you a couple questions real quick from chat, Joyful, and then we're going to get to playing Divine or Decline. So if you want to come up and play Divine or Decline, feel free. Sorry, let me go back. Can you? Oh,
He didn't even.
Slice
He
it.
didn't even know that. Sorry, I was gonna say
Go
he
ahead.
didn't even know the historicity of Paul's letters and who they were to.
No.
It
And
was
I just
just
didn't
bad.
want to play that game tonight. Slice says, can y'all have a trans person on sometime? That would be helpful to many, I believe. And I agree with you. And JA has a lot of friends who are trans, so I think that will happen or has happened or does happen. So you can look forward to that. Just checking it. You guys, thank you for 103,000 likes. I'm going to start inviting some of you up if you don't invite yourselves up. Christian scholars and oxymoron. You guys, I missed some of your comments. I'll probably have to look at them later. But if you had a question and you want me to ask it, just retype it in. If you can, put it in all caps. Otherwise, it's time to play Divine or Decline. I'm going to invite some people up because people are not requesting up. You're going to come up here and play this game with me. It is fun. It is a fun game. All right, we got a few people up here now.
Hello.
Hi.
There we
Hello,
go.
everybody. We
Hey,
have lo
Crystal,
and
can-
behold. Yeah. What do
While
you
you're
need, Joyful?
while you are introducing them, I need to take just 1 minute to go check on Holly.
You go
and then I
right
will be back.
ahead. You go right ahead. Okay, we got a full board. So let me say hi to each of you real quick. JD, welcome back. I think you've played the game before, so I don't need to explain it to you, but I will be explaining it anyway. Is it Liz or JD or both of you?
Both of us.
All right. Lo and behold, welcome. We're going to play everybody's favorite game, Divine or Decline. You guys, if you're not following Lo and behold, you should be. Lowen, you're going to start going live again, right? You have red bars. Maybe you can't.
Really bad
there you
connection. I'm
go.
gonna drop down and come right back.
Okay, Lowen. Sounds good. Ben, welcome in. How are you?
I'm doing good, thanks. I am finally fulfilling my promise to come up and play Divine or Decline.
So happy. So happy. Sarah, welcome.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
So glad you're here. You guys, again, if you're not following these people, you should be following all of them. Ken and Paper, one of my favorite friends in chat. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing well, thank you.
All right. I would bring you up to Douglas, but the board is full, so I can't bring you up, but thank you for requesting. Lowen.
I'm back.
All right, and Joyful's back too. So Lowen's back. He doesn't have bars. Joyful's back. All right, you guys, here's how we play the game. I am going to read to you a phrase. If the phrase is from the Bible, you're going to say divine. If the phrase is from the Quran, the Book of Mormon, or I made it up, it's decline. The Bible version that I use is the New American Standard Bible. I do that because it's copyright free. That's also why I use the 1830 version of the Book of Mormon, and I use the Quran because they are all copyright free. So, that being said, everybody loses this game. There's never any winners. We don't keep score. I'll start at the top and ask you, and we'll go down to
All I
Joyful,
do is
okay?
win.
Yeah, sure. Okay, here we go. The lamp of the body is the eye. So then, if your eye is clear, your whole body also will be full of light. Lowen.
Decline.
All right, JD.
That is definitely decline.
Yeah, we're going
Quran.
All right, Ben.
I'll say that that's decline as well.
Okay, Sarah.
Decline.
All right, Ken.
Decline.
All right, Jay Debates.
Decline.
Jeffro, you're the only one who got it right. It was divine. That is Matthew 6:22. All right, number 2. The birds of the air were gathered. What?
I just figured with everybody else saying decline that was probably right, and I was gonna.
Yeah, you can't follow the
I
leader
wasn't
on this
sure
game
on
because
that one at all.
nobody knows. They all sound alike. That's the fun of the game, you know?
Yeah.
The birds of the air were gathered, and one said to the other, "See how the sons of men stumble, though the earth is firm beneath their feet." Lowen.
I'm gonna stick with decline.
All right, JD.
I remember why I hate this game.
I'm just as good as I was last time. Decline.
All right, Ben.
I'm gonna say divine this time.
All right, Sarah.
Decline.
Okay, Ken.
Divine.
All right, J.A.
I think it's from the Quran, so I'm gonna say decline.
That is decline. Hi, Annie. And that was made up by Moa. So that
Sounded
was
very
decline.
much like the Quran.
Yeah, it was a little Qurani.
That was really good.
You'd be a good Muslim, Crystal.
No, I wouldn't. No, I can't keep quiet. So I would not make a good
True,
Muslim
true.
woman. Okay,
True.
and he who blasphemes the name of the Lord shall certainly be put to death. All the congregation shall certainly stone him. Lowen.
Divine.
JD.
Even though I think you might be being tricky, I'm going to say divine.
Like, I know
All right, Ben.
You always.
I am gonna go against the grain again, and I'm gonna say decline.
All right, Sarah.
Divine.
Okay, Ken.
Divine.
J.A.
Divine.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was divine. If you've been paying attention in Non-Believers Bible Study, we just went over that. That was Leviticus 24:16. Divine. All right, number 4. They will say, our skins testify against us. They will bear witness against themselves because of what they used to do. Lowen.
I'm gonna go with decline.
All right, JD.
I'm going to go divine. Sounds
All
good.
right, then.
Can you please repeat it?
Sure. They will say our skins testify against us. They will bear witness against themselves because of what they used to do.
I'm gonna say decline.
All right, Sarah.
Decline.
Ken.
Decline.
J.A.
Decline Book of Mormon?
And no, that would be decline Quran 6:130, but I took out the word Allah out of there somewhere. There was the word Allah in there. Okay, number 5. The lazy one does not plow after the autumn, so he begs during the harvest and has nothing. Lowen.
I'm gonna go divine.
All right, JD.
I'm gonna go decline.
Ben.
I think decline.
All right, Sarah.
Could you repeat that?
Yeah, the lazy one does not plow after the autumn, so he begs during the harvest and he has nothing.
Decline.
All right, Ken.
Divine.
All right, JA.
Decline.
Okay, Lowen, I see you. That is divine. That's Proverbs 24. Okay, number 6. And it came to pass that he smote the ground with his staff, and the dust thereof became serpents to trouble the people. Lowen.
Can you reread that?
Sure. And it came to pass that he smote the ground with his staff, and the dust thereof became serpents to trouble the people.
Decline.
All right, JD.
I
say decline.
Yeah, I'm going decline.
Okay, Fen.
I think that's divine.
All right, Sarah.
Divine.
Okay, Ken.
Divine.
JA.
I'm gonna say divine, but I feel like you changed something. So I feel like this is a trick question, but I'll do divine.
These people are trying to say it's from the Lord of the Rings. It is not the Lord of the Rings, but it is declined. That is from the Book of Mormon. Changed a little bit of the wording, but it's from the Book of Mormon. Number 7. I will also smash to pieces the gate and the bar, and I will scatter the people into the wilderness where no man dwells. Lowen.
Decline.
JD.
Oh Lord. Divine.
All right, Ben.
Can you please repeat it?
Sure. I will also smash to pieces the gate and the bar, and I will scatter the people into the wilderness where no man dwells.
That sounds... I'm going to say decline, but it
All
does
right,
sound
Sarah.
like it's from the Old Testament.
I'm gonna say divine.
All right, Ken.
Divine.
All right, JA.
Divine.
That is decline. I made it, and I made it to sound like the Old Testament then. Number 8. The one who shuts his ear to the cry of the poor will also cry himself and not be answered. Lowen.
Divine.
JD.
Divine.
All right, Ben.
Divine.
Sarah.
Divine.
Ken.
Divine.
JA.
Divine.
That is divine. That's Proverbs 21:13. So next time somebody tells you not to feed the homeless and they're a Christian, tell them to read their Bible. Okay? When the mountains are moved and the seas are set aflame, then mankind shall remember what they forgot. Lowen. What did they
Decline.
forget? Okay, JD.
Decline.
All right, Ben.
I'm not sure, so I'll say divine, because you're tricky.
Sarah.
Decline.
All right, Ken.
Divine.
JA.
Decline.
That is decline. That is from the Quran. 81, 3, and wait. Yeah, that's right. I thought I read the wrong one for a minute. That is for the Quran, 81, 3, and 4. I adapted something in there. I think I left out the word Quran or something in there. Anyway, this is the last one. This is for all the marbles. Whoever gets this right wins the entire game. That's how we play around here. So here you go. Final question of the night. But I discipline my body and make it my slave so that after I have preached to others, I myself will not be disqualified. Lowen.
Decline.
JD.
Crystal, do you remember the first time I played this, how confident I was? I'm saying divine for the win.
I say okay, decline.
Okay, Liz is saying decline, but JD is saying divine. Then what say you?
I was reading a comment when you said it. Could you please repeat again?
Yeah, no problem. But I discipline my body and make it my slave so that after I have preached to others, I myself will not be disqualified.
I'll say decline.
All right, Sarah.
Decline.
All right, Ken.
Divine.
All right, J.A.
It's something very similar to what Paul says, so I'm going to say divine.
It is divine. That is 1 Corinthians 9:27. You guys, another slave verse there that's pro-slavery again, just in case you need that for your arsenal. J.A., when do you guys go live? Who's hosting? What's going on for your next show?
I go live next Thursday in 2 days. And we will have, that will be the 11th. So we will have AP, Atheistic Preacher. It is his birthday as well. So make sure to show up. It will be me and him.
Awesome.
He is amazing, and I'm glad to get him on the show. He does not get the credit he deserves with all of his knowledge. So yeah, I'm glad to get him on. So that is who will be there.
That's amazing and awesome. So make sure you guys tune in Thursday. I'll be live again tomorrow right here for non-believers Bible study at 11 a.m. Pacific time. We, I think, are done. I think I just finished Leviticus finally, you guys, if I'm not mistaken. And I don't think I am, so chances are that's a true story. You know what? I don't know when my next Decon Q&A is because I forgot to put them on the calendar. So I'm not going to be able to tell you that. But join me tomorrow for non-believers Bible study. I just finished Leviticus. So let's see. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers. Yeah, that's the fun one. All right, you guys, thank you so much for being here, Joyful. I hope we get to do this again in a few more months. I look forward to seeing what happens with JA debates and where you go from there. I'd love to see more of your artwork in the Discord. And, yeah, I hope everything goes well with Holly and her back and the kids and all that. And it's so good to get to sit down and talk with you like this.
Well, I appreciate you, and you know I love you. And thank you all for showing up. It means a lot. And coming up and playing that game with us. Have a great night,
Thank
guys.
you so much. And you guys, thanks so much for coming up and playing the game. Sarah, Ben, JD, Lowen, and I forgot, like, there was one more person, huh?
Ken.
Huh?
Ken.
Oh, Ken! Yes, Ken!
Actually, Twisted, Holly is doing okay. She's mainly bed resting. We're figuring out her surgery and everything, and it's got to get approved. But she is basically just bed resting right now. So, she is ready to get the surgery done. So that is at least a step in the right direction.
And I said on the YouTube that Joyful has 5 kids, and he corrected me and said 4, and I'd like to correct him again and say Holly is also a child. So, you have 5 kids. All right, I love you guys. Have a good night. See you around the Mean Street.